This video is Ernest Hemingway's In Another Country and how it fits into modernism. This story is really a long line of stories that he wrote that were largely based on his experiences during World War I, which really are pretty much all of his books. As is expected, it's very similar to feel with many of his other books and short stories, and just like pretty much all of his other books, it's really without hope and without a happy ending. To summarize, which you really need to know the story to know how it fits into modernism, it begins with, you guessed it, a wounded American soldier in an Italian hospital. There is no love interest this time, though. He was wounded in the war, and his knee was injured. It makes mention that he was a football player back home, which helps to accentuate the feeling of hopelessness of his situation. He, along with 4 other wounded comrades, although they are Italian, feel the need to stick together throughout their situation. One of the 4 really develops a friendship with him and a strong bond. And he was also a world-class fencer before the war, but now, just like the protagonist, he has a wound that prevents him from doing what he really loves, since his hand is pretty much destroyed. And this really helps show how war pretty much destroys everything it touches, which is a pretty major theme with Ernest Hemingway. As the story progresses, you learn that the protagonist's injury was just an accident and not from doing anything heroic, which is contrary to the medal that he was awarded by the Italian government. This is one of the points that the Italians are embittered upon. They believe that he received it only because he was an American, which really is why he got it, and not because of bravery, which is what the Italians themselves were awarded for. This is the flawed hero aspect of the story, and like many of Hemingway's other works, there are flawed heroes as protagonists and characters. But in this story, the protagonist's total separation from everything that was familiar to him, including any fellow Americans, gives him a feeling of being totally alone in a foreign country, hence the name of the story, with nothing to comfort him. When he mentions his intention to marry to his friend, he immediately snaps back, "The more of a fool you are," and he goes on to say something to the extent of, why give yourself the opportunity to lose something that you can't afford to lose, since he himself had just lost his own young wife. The darker side of the story is really almost tangible. In the end, though, there's a total void of happiness. As expected, the treatments received by the wounded soldiers didn't cure them or rid them of their ailments, so they don't get to go home and do what they really love to do. And one of the major themes of this story is the total separation of the protagonist from everything he once loved, and the total loneliness he feels as he stays in another country.